Hello, class, and welcome to Chemistry 121. I am Professor Lisa Batiste, and I will be your instructor for this class. And so, what I want to do is navigate through the class so you have a little information on what is going on and how to get to your different assignments. So, first of all, I'm going to start on your dashboard. On the dashboard, you'll see a list of your classes. These are all of my classes, but you'll look for the Chem 121. This is the summer session, but it just depends on when your class meets, what your term will be listed here, right? And on the picture here, you'll see fireworks and the different chemicals that make up the different colors for fireworks, right? So you click on the class and you have your home page. On your home page, you'll see the top three or the latest three announcements posted here at the top. You'll see our GMC logo, welcome to the class, excuse me, and then you'll see information about me. So my name, like I said, Professor Lisa Batiste. This is my email address and my phone number where you can text or call me. If you are sending an email or if you're calling or texting, make sure that you do let me know which class you are registered for. My office hours are listed here. This may change depending on your term, but they will be listed here. And then some important dates. And again, depending on your term, these dates may change. Okay. This how-to videos, this is for the lab, and there will be a link here. And the navigating through Canvas, the video that I'm doing now, this will be the link to it. All right. And so we have information here at the bottom. These are quick links to each of the weeks for the class. So we're going to start off with the PAHV. The PAHV is the Participation and Academic Honesty Verification. This is important because this tells us that you are an active participant in the class. This is our attendance that you are present and ready to get started with this online class. This also tells the registrar's office that you are staying in the class. Once week one, because you'll have access to this during week one, towards the end of week one, the registrar's office will go through and start purging students out of the class. And those students that get purged out of the class is because they didn't do the PAHV. And so, very important that you do that. Once you're purged from the class, you can request to be reinstated in the class, back into the class, but it is up to the professor to reinstate you into the class. And so, to avoid possibly not getting back into the class, very important that you complete that PAHV as soon as you log into week one. Okay. For week zero, this is information that you have available to you during that week before classes officially start to get kind of a preview of what is to come for this particular class. You have access to the student handbook, the student resources. So if we click on that, this will open up in a new window. And so you'll have access to this. This is some useful forms. This is that reinstatement form that I talked about. If you get purged from the class, academic appeals form, the academic calendar, programs, disability services, the help desk if you have any access issues to the portal, your email account, things like that, library databases and guides. So look through here. There's a wealth of information that is available to you, and then some new resources that are to come. And so the APA style of writing, that's important. You do have lab reports that you have to write for this class. So it's important that you understand writing. BrainFuse, which is our online tutoring service, it is free for students and it's on-demand tutoring and assignments help for a variety of subjects. So not only chemistry, but your other classes as well. And so it's one-on-one tutoring. I do believe there's some group tutoring. And so this tells you how to use it and how to navigate through it. Okay, it gives you some information about our student disability services and how to contact, information about that, our textbook information. And so there's a wealth of information. We do have our textbook is on in the classroom itself. Okay, so, but for other classes, you may have textbooks that you have to access, and so that will give you information about that. Frequently asked questions and our academic integrity and plagiarism policy. So look through those different resources that are available to you. Right. So going back to week zero information, academic success toolkit. Introduction Civil Discourse Forums. And so in here, you will introduce yourself. You see some students have already introduced themselves. I have my introduction video, and so read through that or listen to that. So you can either do a video or you can write it out like these students have done. But in this introduction, I would like you to tell me, are you a first-time online student? What do I need to know about you to best support you through this course? What are some potential obstacles you may encounter in this course, in this term within this course? What skills or knowledge do you hope to gain from taking this course? And how will you apply the knowledge and or skills you gain from this course in the future? Also, if there's a fun fact about yourself that you would like to share with me, please post that as well. So going back to week zero. And so other information you have available to you, Canvas resources for students, how to be successful in this course, helpful student resources. And then here's access to the textbook, okay? Here's the PDF form of the textbook, and here is the web version, okay? So if you want to have it stayed on your computer, you can download the PDF form. And if you just want to access it online, you can click this, okay? And then here's the tutorial for the virtual lab. We do use a virtual lab for this class. And then lab report instructions. So I want to go through those. Okay, you can download the lab report instructions or they should pop up here. Okay, I want to download them because they are going slowly. All right, so that we can look at this. All right, so this is the general format. So your file name, you're going to have last name underscore lab and then the number. So for example, Rogers underscore lab one. You want to make sure that it is a Word document or a PDF. It has to be Microsoft Word. Okay. We do, as a student, you have access. If you do not have Microsoft Office on your computer, it is a free download for all students. So it's very important that it is a Word document or it is a PDF. Okay. Otherwise, I won't be able to read it when you put it in the Dropbox for that particular lab. The length needs to be 2 to 3 pages of written text, and that does not include the title page or the reference page. Those 2 pages need to be separate. So a separate title page, a separate reference page, and then 2 to 3 pages of written text. It needs to be in Times New Roman for the font and 12 point for the font size. It does need to be double spaced. That includes the title page and the reference page. The margins need to be 1 inch margins all the way around, and the orientation is portrait. The style needs to be APA 6th edition for all references. Absolutely no quotations are allowed. You're going to paraphrase if you're using information from one of your references, okay? Then the sections, they need to be labeled accordingly. So, except for the title page, you do not need to label the title page. But on the title page, you need to put the title of the laboratory assignment, your name, the course, and the section number, and the date. This needs to be centered, okay, on your title page, okay? And then the introduction, you're going to label an introduction. What goes in the introduction? And the introduction is going to start on the next page after the title page. Very important. The introduction is going to include while the laboratory background for each experiment lists some rudimentary information. This will not be enough to complete your introduction. You're going to find additional sources that discuss the key concepts of the laboratory. Clearly state your hypothesis near the end of this section and be careful not to plagiarize or quote unnecessarily. Okay, very important. And so your hypothesis is something that you are hoping to prove to be true or false by the end of your experiment. And when we go through that first lab, I will give you some examples of hypotheses and how to write a hypothesis. Okay. The methods and materials section, you're going to label it. This is some of your information can be obtained from the laboratory instructions. You're going to identify the equipment that you used in the lab, such as the glassware, different type of pipettes, and so forth. Do not discuss your computer setup, the brand of keyboard, etc. You don't have to discuss all that. Provide enough details such that an outside reader can clearly identify all items used in the laboratory. Okay, and then your methods. Okay, this needs to be in a paragraph form. So you're not going to do like list or bullet points or anything like that. You're going to write it out in paragraph form. The results, right? So this section requires you to give a clear description of the data that was collected and how it was analyzed. You're going to present any graphics generated from the data, such as charts and tables, and introduce them. Don't just stick them into your report, but you do need to discuss those charts and your tables, okay? The charts and the tables, you need to do those in Word, okay? Word does tables and charts. I will do a tutorial on how to do that. I'm going to show you that when I introduce that first lab, okay? So I will go over how to do that, okay? Because it's very important that you put that in there. You need to provide labels for your figures, okay? So that you can reference them in your writing, okay? Very important. All right, and then the discussion. You want to evaluate your results, put them in a broader framework of the results and other experiments. Do the results support your original hypothesis? You need to discuss that. If it does, then you tell how it supports your hypothesis. If it does not, you tell why it does not support your original hypothesis and also give suggestions on what to do to maybe improve your hypothesis, alter your experiment. What can you do to further your research? Okay, you're going to answer these questions. Who cares? What does it mean? And why should I be excited by these findings? All right. How do the results affect the theories you discussed in the introduction? Do they confirm or disagree? Did I satisfy the primary objective of the lab? What aspects of your experimental environment could have confounded the results? Is there anything you do differently the next time you were setting up your experiment? References, they must be APA format and on a separate page. Here are some tips for writing a report. Write your report like a research paper. You are not simply re, presenting your findings, but instead you are working to prepare a professional document to give insight into your experimental efforts. Your audience is a person who has never been in the lab. Use descriptive but concise language. You will need to a large amount of time to complete your report. So start working on it as soon as possible. Always provide the units for every measure unless instructed otherwise. Do not use first person pronouns. Do not use rhetorical questions. As in all academic writing, make sure you cite all sources and give proper references. Okay, very important. You should have at least one reference for every lab report. Very important. All right. And this is your introduction to writing lab reports for chemistry. If you're taking Chemistry 122, then you're expected to be past that beginning stage of Chemistry 121 when you're just learning how to write a professional chemistry lab report. So it's very important that you understand how to write a professional scientific lab report. So I will be providing videos on this. I will, as I go through the grading of that first lab report, I'll give you very specific comments so that you know how to improve. Very important that you read through those comments and that you understand how to improve upon your writing so that you get better and better each week. So that is our goal for this class. Okay. So if you have questions, again, I will be doing another video that's geared toward writing your lab report. I'll give examples so that you understand how to have that good foundation in writing a good lab report. All right. So let's go through the syllabus now. All right, so in the syllabus, you will find my contact information. You'll also find a written introduction of myself. And then you will find the senior department chair's information. I am the senior department chair for this department. That's why you see my information here. But in your other classes, you will see the senior department chair information in the syllabus for that class. Your instructors will get back with you if you reach out to them within 24 hours. If you are having troubles with getting your professors getting back with you within that 24-hour time frame, then reach out to their senior department chair. Right. The course learning objectives. So the student will be expected to understand and apply concepts related to atomic theory, electronic structure, and periodic trends, the gas laws, nomenclature, thermochemistry, chemical reaction types and stoichiometry, chemical bonding theory, and molecular geometry. The course description. So the first course in a sequence intended for science majors. This course is a study of the systematic treatment of atomic structure, stoichiometry, aqueous reactions, the gas laws, thermochemistry, periodicity, molecular geometry, and chemical bonding. The course content, units, and unit conversions, atomic theory, electronic structure and periodicity, elements and compounds, formulas and nomenclature, basic chemical reactions and stoichiometry, gas laws, thermochemistry, chemical bonding theory, molecular geometry, and Lewis structures. And then the performance criteria. Grading will be based on the following criteria: 20% for the civil discourse forums, 15% for problem sets, 30% for lab reports, 20% for quizzes, and 15% for the final exam. So you see that those lab reports are the largest portion of your grade, so it's important that you understand how to write a good lab report so that you are successful in this class. That is a huge portion of the grade. Between the lab reports and the civil discourse forums, That's half of your grade, okay? So those are the two writing components for this class. I'm gonna go over what the criteria is for the civil discourse forums, but it's important that you have solid writing skills for this class, all right? 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 89 is a B, 70 to 79 is a C, 65 to 69 is a D, and less than 65 is an F. But we don't want to talk about Fs. We want to pass the class and do really well in the class, okay? Information about the catalog and the academic grade appeal, disability services, and so forth are listed there. And this is a textbook free course, so the course textbook is in the class itself. I showed you where that is in the week zero information. The minimum course computing requirements are listed here for PC as well as Mac. And like I said, you do have free access for Microsoft Online. Okay. You is a free download, and here's the information here on how to download it to your computer. Also, Adobe Acrobat Reader. Here's a link to download that as well. It's important that you have antivirus software. This is the hardware requirements for your computer, and it is also very important because this is an online class that you have reliable internet connection. Okay, very important. These are the expectations that are expected of me as your faculty member, and these are the expectations of you as a student. Make sure you read through that information. This is our ethics information. The GMC honor code is I will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. So very important that you read through this information about our ethics code. And then down here is the course schedule. You'll see the information week by week of what you will be doing for that week, the overview, the weekly learning objectives, the reading material for that week, and also the activities and assignments are listed there as well. Down here underneath that is the Civil Discourse Forum guidelines. So this is general guidelines of what you want to look for, excuse me, or what we're looking for in each of your posts. Okay, organize your thoughts, draft your response, proofread your work, provide references, be polite, and post substantive, meaningful contributions. Be creative and fix your mistakes. Okay, very important. And then the grading criteria. So I do want to go through this. I want to go through how you get all the points for each of these categories. So the peer-to-peer interactions, we need at least two replies were made to a peer and or the instructor, okay? 5 points for that. Contributed to the forum on at least 2 days. You get 5 points for that. And so what I suggest to students is if you do your initial post, by the deadline, excuse me, and then respond to one of your peers that same day. And then on a separate day, respond to your other peer, to another peer, then you will have gotten the full 5 points. The content relevance. So all posts conveyed a clear understanding of the forum's primary topic, indicated by the correct use of terminology, valid reasoning, and or evidence of substantive claims and or opinions. Very important, okay, that you do that. The evidence would be your reference. You want your post to be clear, and it says all posts that so that's your initial response to the main topic as well as your replies to your peers. So that's all your posts. And then all posts must be at least 150 words in length. Very important that you do that. That is all your posts. So not only your initial posts, but also your replies to your peers need to be at least 150 words in length, okay, for that full 5 points. And then respond it to the main topic by the deadline. So the deadline for week 1 is on Friday of that week. For weeks 2 through 8, your deadline is on Wednesday of that week. So important that you respond to the main topic by that deadline to get the full 5 points. Okay. And then authentic servant leadership at GNC. These are characteristics that we are wanting you to learn how to exhibit as a student, as well as be able to recognize in others. And so the characteristics are as follows: civility, ethical thinking, humility, critical thinking, empathy, effective communication, and emotional intelligence. And so in your classes, you will learn more about authentic servant leadership. You can read through this information because this gives you more information about authentic servant leaders. And you will also have an assignment within your classes where you are identifying servant leadership, or you are learning how to develop servant leadership in yourself. And then down here at the bottom is the course summary. And so you will see all the assignments, their due dates for the different weeks, and the times that they are due. Also, these are quick links to the assignment itself, so that'll give you another way to link it. One thing I do want to point out for week 8, as you see through all the weeks, your assignments are due at 11:59 p.m., but week 8 is different. It's due by 9 a.m. And so very important that you note that there is that change for that week 8 assignments. And so that is the syllabus. On the announcements tab, you'll have all the announcements listed for the class. And like I said, on the home page, you'll see the top 3 announcements that are listed here on the home page. One other thing that I forgot to mention on the home page, this how-to videos, this will be for the lab. There will be a link there so that you can click on them to see the different videos for the lab that are available to you. And then this recording that I'm doing right now, the Navigating Through Canvas, you'll see that link for this recording. Then this is your quick link to the modules. So in week 1, you'll start to see that PAHV. Make sure you do that at the beginning of week 1. And then you'll see the resources that are available to you, math review, and then other objectives, different assignments, and then your activities as well as your laboratory. Okay. And then your grades, you'll be able to click on here to get access to your grades. The assignments, this is another way to access your assignments. If you go through modules, you'll see all the information that'll help you understand the assignments. If you go through the assignments tab, you can go directly to your different assignments. And then you have the BrainFuse online tutoring. This is how you access BrainFuse. So you click on that, you'll see your login information. It'll log you in directly. If it doesn't, it'll have logon information and you'll just log on with your logon and password that you use for the class. Right? People, you'll have access to the students in the class. If maybe you want to form study groups with them, GMC library, you'll have access to that as well. All right. And so that is navigating through your class. If you have any questions, again, I'm Professor Lisa Batiste. Here's my contact information. Please reach out to me and let's have an awesome term. Bye-bye.